Hello, this is LaserBolt and welcome to today's video. Today we have another video for New World, and today we're going to be taking a look at factions and giving you guys the ultimate guide when it comes to factions to helping you make a better decision on what faction you should join or if you should join a faction at all. So if that sounds like something you're definitely interested, a like would be greatly appreciated, and let's dive in and talk about factions. So there are a total of 3 different factions found within New World. Now, let me go ahead and put up this image. Each of them will award you a specific outfit. So if you're mostly into cosmetic looks, then deciding the faction you want to go with is going to be crucial because that is basically the way you're going to look. So you're going to want to decide which one you want to go based on aesthetics. Then here is the image of what all 3 of them look like. Today, we're going to be breaking down all 3 of them and telling you guys what are the benefits of each one and why you should maybe consider joining one more than the other. So let's start off with the Marauders. Now, I did go over the factions a little bit on my Everything You Need to Know About New World video. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend you check that out. But we're going to start off with the Marauders. They are pretty much the militia of the whole game. They are a ruthless military force bent on establishing a free nation where anyone with the strength to do so can prosper and profit. So they are pretty much your rogue agents out in the landscape of New World. They are going to be heavily armored. They're going to have a lot of really good weaponry, and they are going to have a lot of benefits. The next one we have, guys, are the Covenant. Now, these are a fervent group of individuals that has charged itself with cleansing the land of heretics and defilers so that its true holy nature can flourish and justice can be restored. So they're pretty much a fanatic group that is in charge of making sure everything gets cleansed. And you guys can give it a better idea that they're going to be mostly kind of your very similar to your Knight Templars, into other areas. In addition to that, guys, we also have the Syndicate. Now, the Syndicate is a secret organization of immeasurable cunning and intelligence in search of forbidden knowledge to usher in the new age of enlightenment. They're pretty much going to be the one you probably want to side with if you're into like dark magic and stuff like that. If you're going to be running a mage character, that is probably who you want to go with. One thing I do want to mention, guys, if you are planning on playing New World, it is important that we organize ourselves right now. So make sure you guys head over to our Discord server. The link is down below. We don't have a New World chat just yet, but we want to get as many people in there as possible. So once that chat is established, everybody who picks a specific faction could, go ahead and gather around so we can play together. So now that you guys know all the 3 factions, let's talk about how you'll be able to join a faction, and then we're going to break down which one's going to be more convenient for you. So when you actually get to Ethereum, which is the name of the shores of the place where we're going to be going, or New World takes us, there's going to be a series of beginning quests that are going to be presented to us. Now, it is very important that you complete these quests because without completing these quests, you will not be able to join a faction. So you got to make sure you complete the quests. Now, once you completed the first few quests, you will then be directed to the closest town that you're near. You will then need to continue to progress through the quest line, and you will eventually be directed to meet a leader of each faction. This is roughly around once you hit level 10, because that is exactly about the time you should be able to hit this area. Now, each leader of the faction will tell you the benefits of joining each faction and why you should consider joining them more than the other. Once you have met each one, you're then going to be faced with the important choice of which faction do you want to pick. Now, it's extremely important that you make the right decision because once you pick a faction, you're completely locked to that faction and you will not be able to switch this faction until 120 days. That's basically, guys, a total of 4 months. So you have 4 months to change factions. So you're pretty much tied in there for 4 months until the 120 days are over. In New World, there are also clans, guys, very similar to clans, but they're not called clans, they're called companies. So it's very important that when you join a company, the person who's in charge of that particular company will determine what factions we decide to fight. So that's what I'm telling you guys. Go to Discord, join over there so we can decide what company we're going to form and what who's going to be our enemy, right? And who's going to be our friend. So that's very important. Now, when it comes to the open world of factions, which is the PvP aspect of the game, it's very important that you know that any faction can opt into PvP while in the open world. Now, keep in mind that if you are not in the faction, then you cannot flag for PvP in the open world. So it's extremely important that you understand that whatever faction you decide to pick, all your friends should be part of that faction, or else you're not going to be able to play together. It's extremely important that all of you go within the same faction. The ultimate goal for any person in any faction should be to help and enable your faction to control as much territory as possible. Because as you do so, you will gain buffs that include more damage against certain creatures in Ethereum and you will be able to find a higher quality of resources while gathering. You'll also be able to craft higher tier items and have a little bit more luck while looting. So basically, the more territories you control as a faction, the more powerful you will become as a faction and as a player. Alright, so now that you understand how factions work, let's talk about the faction missions and what you're going to be able to do within these missions. So if you didn't know, there are faction missions, which I mentioned on my Everything You Need to Know video. So how do factions control territories? That's the big question we want to ask ourselves. What's the importance of it, right? Well, you're going to control the territory through war. But before you could actually declare war against another faction, the faction needs to control their territory and must first be undermined. And if you are in a faction that is trying to maintain control, then you as a member of that faction must help with activities to reinforce that faction's influence. This is done by completing PvP missions in that specific territory. So if you like a specific area of the map and you want to control that, there are going to be specific missions tied to that specific territory. Upon you accepting that mission, you will be tasked to deliver messages or items to another territory, recovering tactical information or patrolling specific areas. It is very important to note that upon accepting the PvP mission or the mission you've been assigned, you will be auto-flagged for PvP. Now, this is where it becomes really important. If you are unflagged or you unflag yourself, then you will automatically fail that mission and you will need to continue the mission. You will need to start all over. Now, if you die as well during this mission, you automatically fail as well and you need to start all over from square one. Now, let's say you didn't die. Let's say you didn't get unflagged. Let's say you completed the mission. After you complete the mission, you will be rewarded with faction currency. This faction currency is used to purchase specific special gear. And more importantly, previously mentioned, you will be generating influence for your faction within that territory. This will reduce the control of the faction owning and the territory, bringing it closer to being vulnerable to war declaration. So let's kind of give you guys a quick glimpse. Let's say I like a specific area on the map. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna infiltrate a bunch of spies in there. We're gonna go pick up a mission from within that territory. The more missions we do, the more we bring down their vulnerability. And once they're completely vulnerable, we're then able to attack them and declare war. Now, keep in mind, you will also do PvE missions for your factions, which include things like crafting supplies, defeating mobs, and gathering resources. So it's not specifically only tied to PvP. When you complete a PvE mission, you are then rewarded with faction currency, which can be used to purchase faction-specific gear, kind of like the ones I mentioned. So determining which gear you want to go with, you should be able to go ahead and pick the one you want. Now that we went ahead and we weakened the factions, now we're able to declare war. Once a territory has been undermined to the extent of becoming vulnerable to war declaration, then any company in the undermining faction can then declare war on the territory. Once this is done, one of the companies that has declared war will then be selected to be a Vanguard. The most active companies in the influence race will have the higher chance of being selected as a Vanguard. All companies in a faction are now eligible to declare war when the territory is thrown into a conflict state. To be eligible, a company must have control of at least 10% of the total influence required to throw the territory into conflict. In the unlikely event that no company contributes over 10%, any company will be eligible to declare war. The war declaration button now indicates a company is eligible to declare war. If more than one company declares war on the same territory during conflict, the amount of influence a company contributes toward the conflict increases its chance to be selected as a Vanguard. So it's extremely important, guys, to get as much influence as you possibly can as a faction. So with that being said, you're probably wondering, Laser, what the heck is a Vanguard? Well, that is the responsibility of the leader of the selected company to be the Vanguard to build out their forces with players who have volunteered to fight. And the Vanguard will be the company who controls the territory if the war is won. So you're kind of the main honcho there. This system gives a smaller company an opportunity to control territory. So even if you have a 10-man company, you will still have the chance to own the territory. If your 10-man company declares war and is selected as the Vanguard, you will then pull in 40 other players that have volunteered to fight to help to complete your 50-man team for that siege battle. So even if you're a small company, you're still able to declare war, guys. Don't forget. So yes, even if you are a one-man company, you will still have the opportunity to own your own territory. It is worth noting that you cannot declare war against a company in the same faction as you, but you do have the option to help them if they need more troops for the siege or need help in other ways or forms. So remember, that's why picking factions are extremely important, because all factions join together when it comes to war. That is important for me to mention, guys. Even though if you don't want to participate in PvP in New World, you're still a valuable contributor to a faction by making sure faction is well supplied and supported. And I know the question is, Laser, now that I know about the factions, do I have to join a faction? It's like, do I have to? Now, you are not forced to join a faction in New World, guys. You don't have to join one. But keep in mind that if you do not, then you will not be able to participate in a lot of the aspects of the game. You will not be able to flag for open world PvP or join a company. You'll not be able to help undermine or help control territories. So it's extremely important, guys, especially if you're trying to level up fast or not. It's important that you join a faction. Now, out of all these three factions, guys, which is the one that you like the most? Do you guys like the Marauders? Do you like the Covenant or the Syndicate? Let me know which faction you're picking up. Also, don't forget to join us over on Discord. The link is down below, and get our team ready and see what company we're going to be decided going with. So far, which is the one, that faction that you like so far? I personally like the Syndicate. That seems like a very cool looking one. I do like to play mage a lot, so I think that would benefit me the most. But overall, in general, let me know which ones you guys are deciding to go with. I hope you guys are enjoying our New World coverage. If you are, do please for you guys to drop a like and drop a comment. But most importantly, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so you guys won't miss when we go live. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.